Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Lucas.
And this is Inside Jokes.
Where you can only tune in if...
your salary is lower than your height.
Ba-boom.
And don't worry, we're here too. And here's the intro song for the week.
Oh, no, it's not that song. Hold on a second.
Hold on. Technical difficulties, as
Classic.
always. It's not our show if there's not something
No.
wrong. Is that
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the
it.
intro song.
Kick it! Do you guys...
You wake up late for school and you don't want to go. You're in uni now, so your mama don't know. You see it's 8:10 and you bust a smirk.
The phrase bust.
Inside Jokes is on and we shit talk jerks.
Busted.
Starting the night off right. We're joking.
Gonna be honest, I don't know what that's a parody of.
Boys.
You don't know the Beastie Boys?
I think I try and stay away from them.
Okay, well, good thing I have a second.
The beat sounds like an old NES game.
I know. I found it. I found it, and it is honestly the
It's like
most.
the Ninja Turtles game.
But don't you worry, because we have 2 intro songs this week for our last live episode. Here's the second one.
Hanukkah, Hanukkah, Hanukkah rocks. Hanukkah swing and Hanukkah bling. Christmas can suck it, cause Hanukkah's fun. Ha. Now the real show has begun.
There go half the viewers.
What is this? For something else.
Do you remember that controversy with Starbucks and the red cups? Wasn't that
Yeah.
the stupidest thing ever?
It was. 'Cause people were complaining that the cups weren't festive enough. But
Not enough.
before we get
thought it
into
was
our
great.
topic today, would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Oh,
and then
yeah.
after, say which of the 2 intro songs was your favorite and why. Mark?
Yeah, okay. little radio silence there. I'm Mark Frame. I'm here because I know Naomi and Meghan. Yeah, not much more to say.
What school you go to, Mark?
What
You-
school?
do you do school?
I guess I do school, yeah. Occasionally, Ottawa, studying software eng. It's pretty boring, I guess.
Hey, don't say
Yeah.
that.
It's
I
pretty
study
boring.
science. It's cool.
More
Yeah, I guess,
boring.
yeah, science
Hey.
is cool. But yeah, I guess my favorite song there was the Hanukkah one.
Wow.
It had the most, like, chutzpah, you know?
Thanks.
Good
Yeah.
answer.
Thanks. All right.
I am Lucas Shervan. I also know Naomi and Meghan. I go to U of T, and I like to think that school does me there. So, always a good time.
All right, that's fair. What was your favorite song, Lucas?
I'll go with the first one, because, I want to spread the love.
Thanks.
I'm a Christmas guy, so
Thanks.
just starting to slip under there.
All right.
And I'm Megan, and I'm here every week, and I would just like to say that I liked the Beastie Boys song because I love the original song, and those lyrics were amazing.
Thanks. Bust a Smirk's my favorite line.
That was
in
really
it.
good.
I
I
did
liked
really
that one, yeah.
That one doesn't make. I remember reading it and I was like, oh, I forgot that I wrote that. But that's my rule.
Too late.
I always write them at midnight, and I always sing them at like 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. So,
Interesting.
and then the Christmas one, the Hanukkah one, it's almost Hanukkah, and also. That song, Jingle Bell Rock, the original, always played at Bulk Barn every single Christmas because we'd play Christmas music from November to January 1st. And you can't tune out Jingle Bell Rock.
No.
There are certain Christmas songs you can tune out, but you can't tune out Jingle Bell Rock. And I hate Jingle Bell Rock
That's
now.
literally like that Black Mirror episode that does the repeating song. I think it's called the Christmas one they did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like stuck in a globe and they play the Christmas
Oh,
song on
yes.
repeat and he goes insane. Well, anyone would go insane.
Yeah. True. Fair.
So, this week's topic.
Yes. I don't get paid enough for this.
We're going to talk about our wildest work stories. And I think I'm going to start us off this week. So I'm going to set the scene. It was Gay Pride weekend. And at this job, interesting enough, it was selling African art. But that's completely unrelated to the story. It does not matter, really. But it was a really rainy weekend, so I was actually working at this booth, like, completely alone. And it was, I think, like, literally 10 a.m., but it was dead because it was raining. So and we were also, like, at Young and Gould, actually, like, right by that Ryerson Study Space building.
The SLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abbreviations.
And it was completely dead because everyone was, like, actually at the main strip of Gay Pride. And this woman comes up to the booth. She looks pretty normal. But then behind her, on a leash, is a very tall man who's, I'll go head down, ginger, little black sunglasses, long black leather trench coat to the ground.
And that's
And
it.
then on a
Complete
leash.
outfit.
On a leash.
What kind of leash? Bedazzled? Spiky?
He had the spiky collar
Oh,
and then a
damn.
red lead.
Interesting.
Leopard print.
No, that one's for
You
Fridays.
can really tell a person by what kind of leash they wear.
Yeah.
So they come up to my booth, and I'm already so happy. This is just so great because the morning was so boring. I knew that this was going to be a good time. And oh my God, my expectations were completely shattered. It was amazing. So they come up to the booth. She's normal. Like, he's not saying a word. She's just kind of looking at the stuff. We used to sell crystals as well. So she was looking at the crystals. I was telling her what they're all for because I had it memorized. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he speaks. He says, I shouldn't be talking right now. And as he says that, she looks over like she's about to beat him.
Oh, damn.
And he's like, but I think you can help me. See, I'm a wizard who's constantly traveling through different dimensions, and I need you to help me pick a stone that will ground me and keep me in this dimension. I'm like, oh, don't you worry, sir.
We have tons of wizards come up to us at the stand.
I have heard this one before. I know what you need.
Seems
So,
like a real inside job, though, to get that particular stone.
oh, don't you worry. I had the stone in mind, so I help him find his stone. And while we're just talking, now he is talking, he says, wait a second. Are you going through a big life choice right now? And honestly, I wasn't. But it was like 10th grade. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pretend that I'm applying to university. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm choosing university right now. And he's like, okay, name a university. It's like, Guelph. He's like, you're going there. And I can say,
And you did.
unfortunately, not yet.
Oh.
But I have faith. One day.
Yeah.
go when you're, like,
Maybe you'll
50.
visit.
Actually, you know
He
what?
never said what you'll do when you go.
Hey,
You
I
might
did-
just visit.
I did once. So there we go.
He knows.
But yeah, so that is one of my favorite stories to tell because I met a wizard and he told me my future. And I helped him stay in this dimension.
That's pretty
I
good.
bet they
And
have,
that-
like, really cool business cards, those wizards.
They're really
He-
into graphic design.
You can never find them, though. He always leaves them in the last dimension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a really
Yeah.
flaky guy.
Forgetful.
And you can't contact him because he's in a whole other dimension.
The only thing tying him down is that leash.
Oh my God.
Bedazzled or no?
Didn't seem like a bedazzled day.
No.
But yeah, so that's like honestly, out of all my stories, not even work stories, that's just like one of my favorite stories to tell.
Yeah. You've been excited to tell that forever.
Yes.
And you were like, I'm not telling you until the show. You said that like 4 months ago.
Yeah,
So
because it's one of my favorite stories.
that's great.
I met a wizard
I know.
on a leash.
Oh my God.
He was being dominated while I was talking to him.
Oh my-
I had met an Uber driver tell me they're my future too. That's not work related, but I did have an
That's
Uber
work
driver.
for the Uber driver, though.
Yeah. All right.
That was his job.
He was like, he's like, where are you coming from? I was like, my friend's house. We were just hanging out, heading home for the night. He's like, oh. He's like, you seem really nice. And I was like, yeah. He's like you'd give
Yeah.
your like you would take care of anyone if they needed your help. And just a side note, who's gonna be like, nah.
You seem awful.
No, I'm actually kind of a jerk. So I was like, yeah. And he's like, kind of like someone born in November. And I was like, oh no. Like, yeah, I am born in November.
Oh,
He
he
goes,
pegging you.
no, I was. And I was just like, I
Damn.
knew it. He's like, I can read the future. So I just could sense that you were born in that month. I thought you should also know this is very far ahead in the future, but you will be having a son. And I went, oh,
Jesus.
cool. I was like, dang it, I wanted a daughter, but all right. And he's like, in 10 years. And I was like, all right. If I don't have a son in 2029 and on October 5th, I am not giving him 5 stars.
Just waiting.
I'm waiting on that review.
You haven't taken any other Uber drive since.
No, I'm waiting. It's going to go, how was your trip with blah, blah? And Uber probably will be replaced by something at that point, but I'll be like...
1 star.
Yeah, I'll be like, no, I had a girl. Ah!
No context.
Yeah, anyways, you guys work?
Yeah, we as
Occasionally,
much as we need
yeah.
Do you currently have jobs?
Yes, yeah.
to. No.
Cool.
I
Nice.
Top secret.
I like to say I'm in between jobs.
Okay.
That's technically... That implies I'll have a job in the future, so I'm going with that.
I'm just working like a soulless software job right now.
Okay.
I miss working the weird odd jobs though.
Okay.
Like
Those are
even
the
just a
fun
couple
ones.
months ago with Lucas, we used to do these like papering routes.
Yeah, basically, film's really booming in Toronto this past summer, especially. Like Netflix has a bunch of deals out,
Yeah.
so you need a higher demand of just everything involved in the production. So my dad, he's involved, and he kind of extensively recruited us, and we just basically go kind of like a scouting job. We letter the area that's being marked down for filming, and part of that sometimes you need to talk to people and get them to sign off. Not on anything specific, but just like to get signatures so that there's no complaints.
Okay.
And so I guess like the weirdest story about that was we went to this one street out in like
Like North York.
Yeah.
A place that I never want to go to again.
Oh no.
The whole...
Sorry,
Just
North
all
York.
of North York.
All of-
I don't know,
Wow.
it just took a long time, and it was like suburbia to me.
Yeah.
And
My family, some of my grandparents live out there, so...
like there was this one woman that like after Lucas took the north side, I took the south side, and Lucas said like this one woman was just like so mean to me. She just like
It's really interesting doing this kind of job because you really get to see like just people living in their house.
Yeah.
I knock on the woman's door and she comes, the most inviting face. She's like bright, like she must whiten her teeth or something. She's smiling. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be an easy one. And I do my spiel. I say hi, like sorry for the intrusion. Just basically, me and you have no objection. And then while smiling, like a serial killer, she goes like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, and I'm a little surprised. And then as I begin to talk, she says, "You know what? I didn't even need to open this door for you. I don't need to do anything." And then she just slams the door in me.
Oh my god.
and you were like so shook by this that you
She
were telling
seems so
me.
nice. Like you think you have a read on people.
Yeah.
You look at their face and you say like, "I know what's gonna happen."
Oh, that's so true in
I-
customer service.
Yeah.
Like I just had to meet this woman, right?
Yeah, like so
like,
we finished
on-
the street and we came back and I said, "Mark, let's skip this one." And what he says?
I was just like we've got to go up. We've got to. And,
I really didn't
and
want
so
to.
she opens the door like same like shit-eating grin, right? And
That grin dropped though. As soon as she saw me, she's like,
yeah,
They're back.
I don't. I can't remember exactly what she said, but she was furious that we came back, that we had the audacity to come back and like talk to her.
Yeah.
That like even when we'd left, she opened the door and again with that same smile just yelled at us.
yeah, like we're walking down the street, we're trying to leave.
Yeah.
And she like needs more, you know?
And we were just nodding at her.
no.
And she was saying that she was like we woke her up, and
Yeah.
it was like
like 5 p.m.
yeah, it was like 5 p.m.
She had a nap. She just...
Also, okay, yeah, she answers the door like within 5 seconds, like perfectly attired.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
who naps like that? That's
She was waiting. She's waiting for someone to yell at.
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
waiting for trouble.
I've had like just to comment on like people that seem really nice but then aren't. I've had someone come up to me and go, I used to work at Bulk Barn for like 11 months, and I had someone come up and was like, "Oh, are these all the trail mixes you guys have?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Seems friendly.
And he's like, "Garbage." That's garbage over there. And I went, "Oh yeah." Like keep in
Challenge
mind,
him.
I don't own Bulk Barn. I don't care. I get paid minimum wage to stand at the cash. And he was like, this is garbage. They're all made with canola oil. And I went, oh. And he went, that gives people cancer. I went, all right. Well, I'm sorry on behalf of the store. You can make your own trail mix, right? Like, you know that. Because sometimes you're like, I hate these. And I'm like, make your own. We have all the ingredients in the trail mixes in individual buckets throughout the store.
That's pretty interesting.
He never made it.
If he has enough time to research that canola oil gives you cancer, he has enough time to Google a trail mix recipe.
Just get some dry roasted pumpkin seeds. Like, don't need oil roasted pumpkin. Like, whatever. They're just the people at Bulk Barn. They're just, you can never tell with them. Sometimes they're nice and sometimes they seem nice, but then they're not. It's like a classic Bulk Barn customer.
At our last get-together, I find it funny that you and someone that you worked with at Bulk Barn had a Bulk Barn off.
Yeah, who could know as many codes as we could.
Damn.
So my friend would go, banana chips. We'd be like, 23. But
We did this genuinely for a good, like, 10 minutes.
Do you not know them all?
No. There's like 10,000 codes.
Do you think Andrea knows them all? Shout out to Andrea.
Andrea Hour, we're shouting her out. Okay,
yeah,
it's over.
She's our coworker.
It's over now.
You're welcome.
She's our coworker that knew the. She knows more than I do for sure. She's been there way longer. She was there for 4 years, and I was there for not even a year. So
I don't think I've worked a job longer than like a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Longest I had was Row Farms with Meghan, actually.
We literally only had
Yeah.
one shift where we actually
One
crossed
shift.
over, but we did work at the
Epic
same grocery store.
crossover.
So
Yes.
what is Row Farms for the people that don't know?
Row Farms? It's like a, I don't know, organic
It's a
butcher
haven.
place.
Like
yeah.
slightly bougie grocery store.
Okay.
About half the people there like to talk about their caveman diets. That's what I know about the
Right.
place.
Oh,
What
yeah.
is a caveman diet?
Well,
It's-
let me tell you
Oh.
about my caveman diet. Anyways, it's like an excuse to only eat steak.
Yeah. I mean, we worked at a butcher shop, so you got a lot of those types.
And the worst part is the steak is like 3 times as much as like a steak and like no frills, but
Yeah.
like
Actually, one of those men who's like, oh, like, this is my caveman diet. He was like talking to me, and he's like, and what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? I'm like, I want to be a dentist. He's like, why?
Oh, I hate
well,
when
why
they
do you want to be
that.
a caveman?
Yeah, hello. He didn't answer that one.
Yeah.
We had some good times there. Separately,
not
unfortunately, not
together,
together, yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
so separately.
I think my favorite job was like just carrying all that cardboard.
Oh yeah, it was like Tuesdays where Mondays were garbage days.
Yeah.
I thought you meant you had a separate job. Where all you did was carry cardboard.
Let me tell you
I
a story
wish.
about cardboard. I got this cardboard box, filled out with some oranges, and then I just lugged that on top of my shoulder.
What happened next?
What happened next will surprise you. Turn to page 6. It was like crazy. It was the first time I had done it, and then no context at all, but I just like dropped them, and it's like in between the kitchen and the front line, so it's just oranges.
Just oranges.
Oranges as far as the eye can see.
Wow.
What happened next, man?
Maybe I'll talk about it later. It's like
All right,
Hey.
all right.
it's
But
too much.
Yeah.
Is this
I
at
can't
one of
handle this.
the bars that you worked at?
Yeah, it's actually a Franz, but it was the Franz that had a nice bar outside.
I bet you have some crazy drunk people stories.
A lot, yeah. I could get into that.
Like half your jobs
Go
are
for
bar
it. Get
jobs.
into it.
I remember, how old was I? I think I was like 19, yeah. And it's like, to be a bartender, you have to be 18. So I felt like really young. And then there was this guy that rolled up, and it was like dead. It was like 3 p.m. And he comes to the bar, and he's like, hey, man. And he read me out. He's like, I can tell, like, you're new to this. And I'm like, oh, shucks. Like,
Caught me.
you caught me. And he's like, don't worry, man. I'm here for you. And he's like, 4 shots of Jameson. And I'm just like,
My man.
okay.
3 p.m.
He made it easy for you then.
Yeah, so
3 p.m. in
he
France.
stayed all the way to the dinner rush, which is like at 6. And he's on like 4 Canadians, 6 Jameson shots. I was serving him too much.
But hey, he was there for you.
Yeah, no.
He could tell. He read you.
I think he just seeks out new bartenders so that they don't know when to cut people
No,
off.
just wait, because
Good point.
You know?
it's getting real busy now. And he's like, you know what, my man?
My man.
Get me my steak dinner. He said my steak dinner. So I'm like, this guy's probably a regular. Like, he just said everything right. Anyway, he dined and dashed on me.
Oh, damn.
I thought that was ending with died.
And I remember my boss, who maybe we'll talk about later, Jerry, he was so understanding. It was like a $70 tab, and he's just like, don't worry.
Damn.
Like I'll fix that.
Fix that.
Oh God.
But yeah, that was a good like first week or whatnot.
Oh no.
I think everyone's got their like dine and dash story if they've worked in like a service industry.
It really is like kind of horrifying in a way.
Yeah.
Traumatic, I would say, not
Really?
horrifying. Yeah, because
don't
it's like
you often have to pay for it as
you
well?
often do, and you just
Yeah.
feel bad. You feel like you let the team down. Or
Yeah.
Really?
like, I don't know.
I mean, you just want to believe in like the good in people.
Yeah, that's
You
another
know?
thing. It's
Yeah.
pretty. It's like kind
Yeah.
of scummy thing to do.
Yeah.
So
You wanna do that later?
disheartening. Disheartening.
You want to go after
Yeah, I just
this?
wanna-
Guys, St. Louis
Warehouse?
is open, so.
Oh,
St.
nice.
Louis, yeah. What's the best place to dine and dash? I say Fran's on Front Street.
That's like one of those blog TO posts, like
I-
25 restaurants in Toronto that you need to dine and dash right now.
I say just anywhere where Lucas is working.
Oh no,
It's the
no,
best
Yeah,
place to
exactly.
dine and dash.
You know he won't fight you.
Especially if we act like really buddy-buddy
And we
with
call him my man.
No.
Because then in reality, it's really just getting Lucas to pay the tab.
I go, Lucas, get me my chicken and waffles, please.
Most
Yes.
expensive thing.
The chicken and waffles at Fran's is pretty good.
Probably.
Oh, I thought you were referencing it like specifically.
No,
Oh,
no.
Here
Chicken
I
and
was
waffle-
thinking
I've
that
never
we-
even had chicken and waffles.
Really?
well,
Me neither.
they're not that good actually.
Me neither.
The Fran's ones are
Mark's like,
as,
they're actually bad.
they're as good as chicken waffles can get, but like the combo just lets you down
The bar
time and
is
time
low.
again.
Speaking
Yeah.
of bars,
Mm.
so I worked for LCBO for a 4-month contract.
It's not a bar.
Ooh.
But we got alcohol.
It's better than a bar.
It's the cheap bar.
It's a very cheap bar.
They always kick me out.
But the problem with it being a very cheap bar is we had some lovely, lovely customers. You can't even imagine the amount of stories that there are from just that like 3-ish months I worked there. One of my favorites. So it was just like your standard Monday 3 p.m. Like
Why is 3 p.m. the magic time?
I
Everyone
don't
has
know.
these stories
I
today.
don't know. But so we had a crowd of people that would come in and buy one beer, like that time in the afternoon. So this man comes in, he goes to the back, he grabs 2 beers, and he comes to the cash, and I notice he's bleeding. He is bleeding and holding a napkin against his knee, and he's waiting in line. So he comes up, and I think he might be drunk, and part of your job is you have to like see if they're drunk, and if they are, you don't serve them, right? So I was asking the usual questions, and because you have to ask like, oh, do you collect air miles? Like you have to ask these questions.
I know. I never have air miles.
Exactly. So there you go.
I do.
Me too, actually. I got it because I worked there. I'm not gonna lie. Ugh. But so I'm asking my questions. He seems sober enough, but he is still very profusely bleeding into this napkin with his 2 beers on my counter. And as I'm asking my questions, he says, I don't need your questions. I need the hospital. And then he throws his money at me, takes his beers, goes and drops his napkin on the floor.
Oh,
Wow.
did you have to clean that?
No, none of us touched it
And it's still there.
It's still there.
to this day.
Just right in front of the cash at the Greenwood and Danforth LC.
Oh,
Yes.
that's the
An
that's
interesting
the
location.
wackest LC as well.
Yeah, there's some interesting characters, interesting regulars that I still see
Yeah.
in my neighborhood sometimes.
I know someone who worked at the LCBO too. And then he just stopped working and he blocked all of their calls and he never came back in.
Isn't that a fancy way to quit a job?
Yeah, it's great. Well, he got called in like to come in early and then he was like, all right. And then he got called in to come in even earlier. And then he was like, ugh.
He was like,
And then he's
pissed.
like, I'm never coming in. Ever again.
That's
Question.
so fun. But LCBO jobs, aren't they like cushy? I've heard they're pretty
No,
good
they're the
if you're like
worst.
salary.
I heard they're really
No.
bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you start off like the bottom of the totem pole, so until you've worked there for I think like literally like a year, you only get shifts or like for 4 months at least, you only get shifts based on calls.
Oh, damn.
But also question, so if he just never showed up again and he blocked all their numbers, do you think they wonder if he ever existed?
Is that how it works?
Do you think they would be like,
I'm trying to
"Wait,
remember what he looks like, but now I just can't.
is he even real?
Did we train him? Where's the contract? It's not here.
He snuck in.
He snuck in and shredded it. He's like, they can't know. They can't ever reach out to me again. But we do have. Does anyone have any more crazy stories they have like specifically to share?
I guess going back to Row Farms, which I don't ever want to do. I had this one pretty funny boss, and one day we were working in the back. I was like cutting some meat or whatever the hell butchers do, and he just like he told me to stop what I was doing and just told me to like go up and just stand in front of a window. Just stand there until I call you back.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I walked up. I just kind of stood there. Told me like turn around so that like I'm facing the window more. And then like a couple of customers leave. He calls me back, and I'm like, "Yo, man, what was up with that? Why'd you send me there? There was no reason." And he was like, "Oh, I just wanted you to block the glare so that I could check out this girl."
That's the kind of power you want to achieve.
Yeah.
And I was, I'm impressed that I was played that hard.
I've had someone ring me up to cash. I was in the back washing scoops, and someone rang me up. They were like, "There was a cute girl in the store," and I'm like, "Cool." Can I go back to washing the scoops? This one isn't a guess. I have a story from someone else that I don't even think she knows I'm referencing this because this is so long ago, but she just sent me this screenshot from one of her coworkers. And it goes, "Hey girl, I know you're unavailable Thursday, but my family's house got raided today and I have to be at court tomorrow. I don't know what time I'm going to be back. Would you be able to take my closing shift?"
No, NBD.
It's just such a lie. It's just such an obvious
What
lie.
if it's
Really?
not
I
a
fell
lie?
for that. I was into that.
I was on it, yeah.
If your house gets raided, how can you go to court the next day? Have they
Good
even
point.
caught?
Our justice system is
how,
just like,
how do they even catch who raided
Yeah,
you?
that's a fair point. I
That's
didn't
a
even
really
think that.
good
For me,
point.
like my mind just went to overshare. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
so
here.
nonchalant.
You know what? I see the best in people. Maybe she was just trying to like file something law court thing.
Maybe. I've
Words.
heard that she's a
Words.
pretty unreliable person. Like she
yeah.
doesn't give her last name to anybody at work, so no one knows her last name.
Damn.
You should just have like a different identity.
That's
then.
so funny.
Honestly, maybe. It's
does-
kind of strange. But yeah, I just wanted to know your
I like
take
that
on
idea.
when people have like ridiculous stories as to why they can't come into work. Did you guys ever have that at your...
Okay, so I'm working this job, and it's like one of the things they got to teach you when you're bartending at Fran's is how to make orange juice. So it's this whole thing, and there's this huge machine. There's a machine because they do freshly squeezed orange juice. So who's got to get the crate of... If the
Who
crates
has
aren't
to?
ready. Oh, you know what? The crates were ready. They were ready. I was going to say that I had to put the oranges in a crate, but they were already in the crate. And then I could just pick them up and carry them.
This is a complicated story, man.
But here's a tip for all breakfast places. They water that stuff down. They have
the
fresh
coffee or the
orange juice, freshly squeezed. And I didn't know they did that at first. So when I was working for 2 weeks, people were getting the freshest orange juice because I didn't water it down. It was gold. And one time my boss saw me doing that, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Like, that's not right.
I love when you like have pure intentions for something at your job and then someone's like, "We don't care." Like, here's one. This is very gross. I remember one time a mom came up to me and she went, "Hi, I don't want to intrude, but I just saw a child lick one of the scoops in your aisle."
Scoops.
Which scoop?
Oh, the scoops. I
At Bulk
get it.
Barn.
I get
This
it,
is the
yeah.
only job I have that
What
I'll
was
be
the
talking
scoop
about
for?
today. Well,
Flour?
that's what I was like, "What aisle was it?" She was like, "The second aisle." I was like, "What bin?" And she's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll call up my supervisor."
The soups.
Because I never know what to do. And I go, "Okay, I'll get my supervisor." And he comes up and I'm like, "Hey, some kid licked one of the scoops." And he's like, "Oh." And I'm like, what do we do? He's like, "What aisle was it?" I was like, "This aisle." He's like, what box?" I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "All right, well then we don't, yeah." Like, well, he's like,
too much
"Too bad."
work.
He's like, "We're not changing all the scoops." And I was like, "Ah." So yeah, it's pretty gross. But I just was like, "We're not gonna change all the scoops in the aisle." He's like, "Do you want to?" And I was like, "No."
Fair. Very
That
fair.
child?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
No, there are a lot of kids that do that. Like, there's kids that always eat the sprinkles from the stroller. There was a kid that grabbed a handful of sprinkles from their stroller and just ate them along the aisles. And
Oh
you could,
my
like,
god.
yeah.
I'm one of those kids.
Yeah, I like to
Yeah.
sample.
Were you there,
I
Mark?
don't like to get caught though.
Didn't I get like kicked out of a bulk barn and you were there?
That's a story.
I think I've heard this story, but I wasn't there.
I thought you were there.
Was that? Yeah.
I think you were there. You know what?
What happened?
I don't want to tell it now because
Tell
it's
it.
just me.
I'll help tell it. Anyway, so you were in a bulk barn. You were sampling, and what happened?
That's it so far. You're doing
No,
good.
you
You're
no,
doing
keep going.
good.
Okay, fine. Then, manager, employee,
Yeah.
someone saw you.
Someone of status higher than my customer rank. That's what it was.
Anyone.
So what did you do exactly to get kicked out of this bulk barn?
You're just eating the food.
Yeah, like there's food. I don't know what it tastes like. The system just it wasn't helping me out, and then out of there.
It's all the system, man.
If you ask for a sample, we're very nice.
Yeah,
Although sometimes kids are they trick the system. They're like, can I have a jawbreaker sample? And I'm like, or like, can I have a gummy bear sample? I'm like, you know what a gummy bear tastes like. Like, stop. But speaking of bulk barn, we have Megan's Waterloo friend Jill.
I got stories.
Worked at bulk barn in
Wasaga.
Wasaga Beach.
Shout out to Wasaga Beach.
And wasn't she like a supervisor?
Yeah, so she's listening now. And when I said that you had a
Ayo.
bulk barn off, she said that she wants a bulk barn off.
She'd probably win.
She said she would because 5 years experience or 5 years of
Damn.
codes.
And she's a supervisor, and they have to know all the
Exactly.
codes.
I like how competitive it can be.
Because
Are they tested?
BB off.
Well, if you're like, someone's like, I'm like, what is this? They're like, flour. I'm like, all right, what kind of flour? They're like, I don't know. And I'm like, that's dumb. Don't you want to know what you're buying? But then I'll be like, I gotta call up my supervisor, and they're supposed to be able to look at it
Look at it.
and just
Oh
go,
my god.
whole wheat.
Oh my
And I'm
god.
like, all right,
That's
Bread
Jill.
flour.
yeah.
That's
Okay,
insane.
So she gave me 8 stories. I think they're all
Damn.
really funny. So first one, a lady came back with a bag of flour. She bought with raw onion slices in it, demanding a refund because we clearly put onions in the flour. We do not sell onions.
That's cockroaches at a restaurant game
Oh,
level
I
up.
hate that. Wow.
That's one. We have so many
yeah.
good ones here. Next one. A couple guys came in super high and helped me face shelves for over half an hour.
That's cute. Lucas,
I've
that's
done
how
that.
you get redeemed at the bulk barn you got kicked out of.
Yeah, just go
Yeah.
back and face
Just do
shelves.
face up.
That,
yeah.
that was a different version of me. Lucas 2.0.
Okay.
All right, number 3.
Mm-hmm.
A guy said I was a hot tamale, so I was like, haha, thank you. And then he said, no. I said, where are the hot tamales?
That's so good.
No.
That's like so like just written right out of like a comedy
Oh,
sketch.
that's so awkward.
Yes. Haha, thanks. No.
Ew.
It would have been better.
Oh, you thought.
Ew.
Why
Oh,
would I hit on anyone at bulk barn? Something I think all the time when people would hit on me and my coworkers at bulk
because
barn.
he's
Oh,
in
yeah.
Wasaga Beach
I
and
hate
bulk
when
barn's
people hit on
probably
me.
like the biggest thing there.
at France.
I love you, Jill.
Okay,
Tell our
next.
M-bar story.
Oh yeah.
What's
We'll
that?
get to
Go.
that.
It's our
Intermission. No, bulk barn
Intermission?
intermission.
Yeah, there's been a lot of BB here.
it's our first job.
Our first job, M-Bar, was during the Pan Am Games.
What's M bar?
That sounds like a war.
It's
Pan
vegan,
Am.
organic bars you'll get in like really fancy, pretentious cafes.
Oh.
Okay.
And
That's pretty
they're-
apt.
Yeah,
That's good.
They're pretty good. I worked at this place because they had a contract for the Pan Am Games when they were here in Toronto. And it was like a family friend, so I got Lucas and like 2 of our other friends to join us. This was grade 9?
Yeah. The
Yeah,
summer
it was
after
it was grade 9, the summer before
After.
grade 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you and Ryan lasted all of like a week.
It was 2 weeks.
It was 2 weeks, 2
It was
weeks?
2 weeks.
Every time one of my friends dropped out, that would just add an extra 2 hours a day to my shift, basically.
That's not fair.
So by the end of it, I think I was working like 12-hour days or something.
Jesus.
No, you
It was
gotta
pretty-
talk about the boss because I think I got made fun of every day because I didn't wrap the bars
Yeah.
the way he liked it.
Yeah.
But I was
Honestly,
so
I think we were
focused.
pretty bad. I think but
Hey, those bars got wrapped. I don't
we
know
were kids though. We were
how it
kids.
happened.
Yeah.
Like grade 9, you're a kid.
And what
It's
was
artisanal.
what did
Yes.
you say the pay was for that job? When we
So,
asked how much are we getting paid for this?
we asked what the pay was, and our boss just said like, well, somewhere between $1 and $100.
That
We didn't know
pissed
how much
off
we were
one of
going.
us.
Like we didn't know how much we were going to
No.
get paid until we got paid.
And
We got paid less than minimum wage.
Oh,
It was
no.
$10
It
an
was
hour.
not
Between
$100.
what? That's not legal.
That's so
not
illegal.
It definitely-
To be fair, if the CRA isn't listening, it was under the table, so like we didn't have to pay.
If the
Tax
CRA
on it.
is listening.
Honestly, that's still bad. That's so bad.
Yeah, no, like honestly,
Yeah.
that's not good. That's not good.
Wow.
Yeah,
What a way
I
to
mean, I think
enter
it's
the
more if you
workforce.
don't. Well,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Keep going.
That
with
was
the
our
Jill.
bulk barn intermission. Or sorry,
Now back to bulk barn.
and now we're back.
Back to
okay.
bulk.
But
barn.
not my bulk barn.
No,
Jill's.
this lovely list. A lady came in asking for Peppa, and I was like, "Sorry, what?" And she was like, "Peppa, do you have Peppa?" And I was like, "Sorry, I haven't heard of Peppa." And then I realized she's British and was asking for Pepper.
Peppa Pig.
I thought she was talking, about
pig.
pork or something.
I was
like she wanted
thinking. I
bacon.
thought pepper
All
because
right,
I'm smart.
and British.
and British.
I'm British.
Smart and British.
I understand British. I speak British.
What are your thoughts on like faking a British accent to sound smarter?
I have a British
Sounds
roommate.
smarter?
I've been thinking of doing it.
What?
For what?
like just with like people that I'm just meeting. You know, just
But like,
I'm bad at
where? Like, how long would you have to
Like
keep up
work.
the accent? No.
like my next job.
That sounds
No.
like another one of those
Oh,
weird
That's
prompts.
like that woman who started that company with the. Oh wow, I'm really.
You're blank.
She faked a deep voice.
Oh really?
Yeah, she faked a
That's
deep
funny.
voice for the
And
whole time,
then-
and then they realized after her whole company was like defrauded, then they realized that no, she
Oh,
just faked.
Theranos?
Yes, that's it.
She faked a deep
She
voice?
faked a deep voice.
Oh my god, she faked a lot of shit.
I know she did, but deep voice is one of
Yeah.
them.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, thank you for remembering the company name.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
All right, our next
Back to
BB
the
story.
list.
I hadn't this one honestly made me die. Like I read these at work and I had to really hold in the laughter from this one because it was so funny. I had an older gentleman put Henry bars in his crotch. We saw him do it, trying to steal them, but then he tried to leave, passing them off as a large erection.
The worst part is you can't even like
Did he
sell them.
Did he say that? He was like, "Hey,
Yes.
no, don't." It's like, no. This is just
I'm just
me.
packing.
This is just me.
He must have felt bad when they instantly called him out on it. Like they never even for a second
We know
thought
you.
that could be it.
We know you've got at least one more in there.
No, I swear it's empty.
That's
The worst
what
part
they
is
all
you
say.
can't even like resell them after that, right?
No.
So it's kind of like you should just let him go.
Waste-logged.
I have
Yeah.
a feeling they did.
Oh
No,
my God.
give him here.
Yeah.
Intuition.
Guys, free Ho Henry bars.
Tell the coworkers.
At
Free
work,
O.
if someone like returns something, there's sometime where we can eat something. If someone like mixes the jelly beans and we like can't sort them, then we get to eat them in the back. Fun fact.
Damn.
Yeah. Someone will like mix all this candy and then go, "I don't want this anymore." And you're like, "Why did you mix them? Now we can't put them back. Guess we have to eat them." So
Okay, weird question. Is it called flowering when you charge someone for flour when it's something else? Flowering, right?
it's called
Really? Is that a thing?
It's called
Swindling.
sweethearting.
Sweethearting, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
I like flowering though.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Okay, we'll talk
We'll
about
talk
it more.
about it after the show. Yeah.
So if you're
It's
wondering what we're
on.
We
doing
will talk
after
about
this,
that, right?
We're dining and dashing as we talk
Yeah.
about
Oh my
flowering.
God.
At St. Louis
not a
or
part of this.
Friends, yeah.
I'm much better now.
Jerry, we're coming for you
we're coming. All right, number
in
6.
your ponytail.
Oh my god. Number 6 on our lovely list. Every summer we had a very old, sickly-looking couple arrive in a golf cart and buy only meds, like vitamins, totaling about $400. And he peed himself in the store. His wife held up his soaking underwear in a bag to prove she wasn't stealing.
Oh god.
Oh my.
These sound like weird true
This is
false
such a
stories.
Wasaga
This is so
story.
I
ridiculous.
know.
Wasaga is like the Florida of Toronto, or not Toronto, Ontario. In that, like, it's where we put a lot of our retirees.
Jill
And
is the one
has a
saving grace.
beach.
Jill, she is amazing. I will say she's nothing
And-
like the man
and
who peed his pants.
And
Yeah.
she's going to Waterloo now, so she's not even in Wasaga for
That's
a lot
fair.
of the
Is
year.
there a bulk barn in Lou?
In lieu,
Yeah.
yeah, there is.
Yes.
Shouldn't there be? There should be one everywhere.
We should go interview whoever works there, ask them
Yeah.
their stories.
Yeah.
Number 7 on our list of 8. We had an old lady that would shit all over our bathroom, literally everywhere somehow, until we banned her.
Oh, this is why we just don't let people
That's
use the
what you
bathroom
call
at our
a
store.
irregular.
You-
No.
We never let anyone use the bathroom.
Most places don't.
I think
Really?
that's like a Toronto
Yeah.
thing. When you go to small towns, it's like it doesn't
Of
matter.
course. Do you
Yeah.
want some fresh squeezed orange juice that isn't watered down? Also,
No one
I
does
went
that.
to I went to a burrito place, and
Where?
and it was like, I don't know, downtown somewhere.
Okay.
It was a hole in the wall, and
okay.
and I had to use the washroom, right? And I asked the guy, like, is there a washroom back there? And he was like, no. And then so I walk out, and then I look up and down the street. There's nowhere to go. There's no Starbucks. There's no Timmy's. There's nothing for me, right? And so I walk back, and I'm like, dude, you're lying to me. There's nowhere else. Like, there's a washroom back there. And he just looked at me with this, like, again, shit-eating grin. I love that saying. He looked at me with this grin, right? And he just shook his head no. I think he's seen some stuff as well.
They have one of her.
It's so true. We never let anyone use it, and we've had people be like, "Come on, come on."
Come on.
And
That
we're
was
like-
me.
Or please, and I'm like, that's not gonna. I can't. That's not gonna get you to. What? Well, now that you've said that, sure, come on in.
Hoping you'll fold.
She said, please.
Don't touch anything in the storage room while you're out. Please don't steal anything, but go
Yeah.
for it.
She said, please, which means she won't poop on the ground.
Yeah, that's the magic word.
It's the magic
you made
word.
it.
It means you have manners.
our
It means you won't poop on
Our
the ground.
secret bathroom password word.
I feel like if you, like, looked in the washroom after they left, you could be like, you just pooped on the ground. Like, what?
Hey.
Come on.
Come on.
And then you always have to check the bathroom like immediately after.
Yeah, then you have to be that creepy guy that waits outside of the washroom.
Like, doesn't smell very good in there.
Makes an awkward smile as they leave the bathroom. Okay, guys, let's go. We don't want them to leave the store.
Oh my god.
What's your final?
All right, our grand finale is I let a child use the bathroom. And he got trapped in there for like 20 minutes because the door was too heavy for him to open it. And I couldn't hear him.
That's so pure and how like messed up it is.
Like, imagine, like, you're like, oh, yeah, sure, you can use the bathroom. You're like, wow, that little kid's taking a long time.
Use
But,
the
you
bathroom
know,
if you're strong enough.
That'd be terrifying.
At your
That'd be
own
terrifying.
Oh,
she
wow.
couldn't hear him for 20 minutes.
We had that. I used to work in an escape room, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What
I
a
know.
segue.
Never
8
been
minutes
to one of
left
those.
into the
Cool.
show, and I've only been talking about Bulk Barn, but I also used to work at an escape
There's
room.
got to be weird stories there.
And oh yes, there was a kid that hid in one of the rooms.
Oh, spooky.
Didn't come out. Hid in one of the rooms, and the room was like based on like a dead child, like a scary ghost girl thing. So that was pretty spooky. And then also another story. Just while I just squeeze this one in here, there was a guy that used to come every week with a different girl. And he'd pretend that he'd never done the room before, and he'd pick the same room
No way.
every time.
That's so funny.
And
You're
he'd wink
exposing.
at us, be like, "Yeah, Dracula's library is the room." I guess
Oh,
we're
so
gonna
he'd do it to impress them?
Yeah.
Oh
Like,
my!
and he's
That's
like-
such a player move.
He's so smart because he knows the room already.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's
It's pretty genius, but it's also the meanest thing.
That's hilarious. That's
That's
pretty
like-
hilarious,
I don't-
especially the
Yeah.
wink to you guys.
Yeah, we also had a couple break up doing one of the rooms
Oh, my
once.
God.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
good.
So
Do you
cliche.
get that on film?
That's so
No,
they
good.
film
no,
you?
we
I
don't have a
wish.
camera in ours, but
Okay.
certain ones do.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So like ours, like This is why I always tell people, I'm like, if you're interested in doing a room, that's awesome. Just don't do it with your significant other and that's it.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of times where they'll come in, they'll be like, I need a clue, help me. And I'll come in. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, if you look to the sky and shine your flashlight, maybe something will happen. And then I'm leaving. And then they're like, see, I told you that's what it was. You're so dumb. And I'm like,
Oh my god.
okay.
Great way to lose a
Always.
girlfriend.
Yeah, so this couple, they broke up and they
Damn.
left separately. They left.
Different Ubers.
Yeah.
Did they like announce it? It's like
No, there was just a lot of yelling. Like it's a small venue, I guess you could say.
Man, can
but-
you imagine doing the escape room next to them and just hearing this couple go at it?
You're trying to immerse yourself in like the theme, and all you hear is, "God, you're so stupid."
Yeah. That's so awkward. We have another fan submission, just quickly. This one's from Avery. You guys know Avery.
Yes.
what's up, Avery?
He's
Avery-
submitted some solid
A-dog.
stories.
Every week.
Every week.
Almost, yeah.
Interesting.
So
I
this
like it.
one says, not retail, but a coworker told me about his freelance lighting job. He was setting up at a wedding, showing off the lights and colors the bride could choose from, like red, blue, or purple, and such. The bride then asked for black light, and everyone, including the groom, just stared at her, and they were like, what? But she was really insisting on black lights, so the lighting guy just turned them all off. She still couldn't understand. Why can't she just have black lights, and was complaining. The groom had to take her aside for a minute to explain why it's not possible.
This is the bride.
Yeah,
Wow.
the poor man.
That's so funny.
Do you think he second guessed his choice to marry her?
The mother of my children.
Nah,
Oh,
he's like, that's what I love about you, dear.
That's so good.
I like how he turned all the lights off.
He's like, see, this is what it would look like. This is what our wedding photos would look
Like,
like.
I don't get it. Like, we can't see anything. Like,
This isn't making sense.
Where's
You
the
said
light?
you'd have all
Maybe
the
she was
colors.
thinking like UV lights, because those are called black
That's
lights.
even that
but that's
weird.
even,
That would be
that's
because
even
gross.
worse.
that's
It's
totally in the
Yeah,
kit.
exactly.
Like,
That's just her dress
I
and
wouldn't
maybe
go.
her smile.
and
if
some
she's got-
stains.
Yeah.
probably like
Exactly.
glow in the dark kind of thing.
Blood stains,
Pea
everything
stains.
else stains. Pea stains.
Anything.
I think we're missing a treasure trove of stories, though, from Megan's time at Pizza.
Oh. That was the weirdest job ever. I pretty much was locked in a windowless room for 12 hours and I cut dough slabs. Literally, they hand you a 50-pound dough slab and you cut it into like 5-pound pieces. It's the pizza that they take to like Canada's Wonderland and like Veld and those things. But literally, windowless room, 12 hours, cutting dough.
I cut dough slabs.
Damn. Just
Yeah.
that. Just cutting.
Cutting dough
Wow.
slabs and like putting them on the trays and like getting them ready to go out. But that was the job.
Wow.
And
You didn't last long at it, eh?
I lasted 2 weeks because not only was it 12-hour
That
shifts,
seems really impressive
12
to me.
hours.
I don't know.
12-hour
Yeah,
shifts,
that's
but
pretty
also 2 hours of commuting because it was in
it was
Etobicoke.
in Etobicoke, yeah.
So 14 hours. I literally woke up, went to work, came home, went to bed. I found another job. I was like, I'm so sorry, but I can't do this anymore. And then I actually got a friend to work there and said Zach.
Zach, yes.
And-
Oh, yeah, that's how I know that from.
And then instead, I made drink from a fruit smoothies and worked at the grocery store with Mark. That was
Yeah.
my
Pretty
summer.
good.
Got a better
I-
kind of dough.
I got a job
Exactly.
from Zach as well, actually. Other way around.
Which
But,
job?
It was BAI, the company that does T-Connect.
Oh, yeah, the buy.
Oh, yeah.
Buy,
Yeah.
T-Connect. And yeah, no weird stories there, really.
Oh, okay.
None at all.
I guess
Good
like I was
times.
You
playing,
were
I was playing
a role
Smash.
model citizen.
They're
Yeah.
top secret.
I was playing Smash with my boss, like Melee or something, and I kind of went on a tangent. I was losing hard, but I started winning, and I was going on a monologue, basically like the Bane monologue, which is like, you merely adopted video games.
Oh,
I was
God.
born in it.
Oh my god,
molded
speaking
by
of
it.
Zach, I know we're in the final minutes, but he sends a message to you and he says, I love you, Mark.
Aw, thank
He's
you, Zach.
listening in.
God
And on
bless
that
you.
note, would you guys like to plug anything and say goodbye?
Yeah, we have a YouTube channel. You should check it out.
And what
Yes.
is it?
Chris Picks Production. I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Yeah. Chris Picks Productions. We have a lot of good content coming.
Yeah.
We have a whole series that's already posted there, so you should check it out.
We do our own Survivor, and so like if you're looking to, join the Survivor or something, just hit us up.
It's intense.
Or
It's a
we're-
full thing.
Yeah, it is a full
We're
thing.
going to be opening up to auditions. I think we'll have like 5 spots or something.
Yeah, tune in.
Yeah, tune in.
January.
Yeah.
What do you mean auditions?
Like auditions for
Casting.
like
So you're
Yeah.
gonna only have 5 people?
no.
Oh, like random people we don't know.
random
That's actually a
people
really
that-
cool
yeah.
idea. And
Yeah.
your Instagrams will be linked if people want to do that.
Yeah, certainly.
And,
Just
uh,
message us.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
really interesting.
Thanks
5
for having
wild
us so
cards.
much. It's been great.
It's been a great episode.
Yeah. I mean,
It's been a lot of fun.
yeah. We got 40 seconds left. Other jobs I had that I didn't mention that could have been cool to talk about. I was an intern at a modeling agency.
Damn.
And I also worked at a dental office, but I wasn't allowed to touch anything for a whole semester.
I worked at a Call It Spring. That was like my mall job that I really wanted because I
Call It
watched
Spring.
16. And you need to have like that mall job.
Oh my god.
So I worked at a shoe store. That was fun.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember that?
I worked at a French day camp. Pretty
I worked
good.
at a daycare where we walk kids to school.
Yo, just one upped. They care.
All right. And I can't talk back, but I'm Naomi.
And I'm Megan, and
I'm
thank
Lucas.
you. Oh.
And I'm Mark, I guess.
Bye.